What's up, guys? Today we're going over all of the stage 4 affinity predictions in one video. Now, this is honestly a grind. I went a little bit fast, so I didn't really back everything up with stats, but I promise you these are researched, calculated predictions, and these are just what I think. Obviously, they're predictions, so we'll just have to see whenever stage 4 comes out. But before we get in this video, if you guys want to hit that like button, hit that sub button. We're growing every single day. Anyways, let's get right into this video. Alright, here goes nothing, boys. So we are going to be predicting every single Stage 4 Team Affinity. Now, I did my research a little bit, but for the sake of your guys' purposes, I am not going to go entirely insanely in depth on all these choices, or else this literally could be a 30-minute video. These are my predictions, and these are who I think I'm going to go. A lot of these cards I don't think are going to be meta, but I think there's going to be about 7 of these cards that are going to be absolutely nuts. I'm looking forward to a lot of them, and I'll go over the ones that I think are going to be the best cards if my predictions are right at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Anyways, first team is actually the Orioles. I had to go with my boy Jose Iglesias. Now, Jose Iglesias, he kind of ripped it up this season, you know, former Detroit Tiger, but he kind of picked it up this season. He did pretty well, and I could definitely see him doing it. Honestly, nobody really did that good on the Orioles. Not to hate on any Orioles fans, but they just weren't that good this year, and so I would give Jose Iglesias maybe a 95, 96, but he doesn't deserve really anything other than that. Our next team is going to be the Boston Red Sox. And the thing about Boston Red Sox, they also were terrible this year. And I think out of all the guys to get a card, it would be Alex Verdugo. Alex Verdugo was kind of a good card, but I just feel like he didn't really do as good as a lot of these other guys. And he's going to probably get a low diamond, but that's probably the best player on the Red Sox. They weren't that great, but as we get in the next couple, they're a lot better teams. And my next pick is actually very controversial. For the New York Yankees, I decided to actually pick Garrett Cole. Now, a lot of people wanted to see LeMahieu here. He got one last year, and that does not mean that I don't think that LeMahieu had an amazing season. Just, I want to be a little bit different, and I know that they did a finest card on LeMahieu last year. I got a hunch they're going to go Cole this year, as whenever you just look at some of these guys, you just got to see who all's really, really good, and they haven't really given Cole a good card yet. And so that's why I think I could see them giving him a card lately, because he was just so good. And the thing about Garrett Cole is that he hasn't had his best season this year, but he still absolutely shoved it with a pretty good ERA, and he's in the Cy Young contention, but he's definitely not going to win the Cy Young. But he had a really good year, and I don't really want to sleep on Garrett Cole here. I don't think they're going to give the same guy back-to-back years, and so that's why I think Garrett Cole is going to get it. For my next pick, we actually have someone who is also really, really good, but just I feel like really deserves the card, Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson was an absolute monster this year, having one of his best years ever. He was one of the best closers in baseball, and I love the Rays bullpen. They're so amazing. There's so many different ways you could go. I could have gone someone offensive like Brandon Lau, but I just didn't think that he quite made the cut, and I think that the best player on the Rays was got to be Nick Anderson. I mean, Blake Snell had a really good year. A lot of their starters had really good years, but I just think that Nick Anderson was an absolute lock out of the pen this year, and so that's why I'm going with Nick Anderson. At the Blue Jays, this one's a little bit skeptical, but I'm going to go Bo Bichette. They did Bo Bichette last year, and that's why I'm a little bit skeptical. They also gave him a 98 overall tops now, but honestly, I don't see that kind of going into play as much because they ended up giving a Joe Ram 2 cards. I know that was because it was a Prestige XP Reward Path card, but I just have a hunch that it's going to be okay if they get 2 cards if it's a tops now player. I like Bo Bichette. I could see him being about a 98 overall and maybe have better stats. I can see them docking the fielding, making him about a silver defender, but have really good pop against right. We'll see what they do, but he's a great hitter, and I think he is one of the best players, if not the best player on the Blue Jays. For the Braves, we have another controversial one. I know that a lot of people are going to be like, Acuna deserves this card, but I hate to say it, but Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman has been an absolute dog this year. He's in the MVP contention because he's done just that good. Let's look at him real quick. He's all the way up to like a 91, I believe. Yeah, or 92. This dude is absolutely raked this year. I love Freddie Freeman. He deserves a finest card. He is such a good captain and a good leader too that I really like Freddie Freeman. Of course, Acuna is the hype player and the hype beast of the team. One of the coolest, most energetic players in the league. But I just think that the best player on their team and deserves the finest card card is going to be Freddie Freeman. The one thing is maybe they hold him out to see if he is in the MVP contention and maybe he gets an MVP card, so they could go Acuna there. They did Acuna last year. I don't think they're going to do Acuna this year. I think it's going to be my boy Freddie Freeman. I think that he deserves a card. Alright, so for our next one, we're just going to start getting them rolling. I'm going to stop really explaining them that much after those are the big cards. The Marlins, I actually went somewhere where I thought that made the most sense, and I'm going to go Starling Marte. Starling Marte had a pretty breakout year. He did really good this year. Not like he hasn't been good throughout his years in general, but he had a great season this year and kind of helped to lead these Marlins up to where they made it today. I mean, the Marlins were really just a surprise this year, and I believe that a big part of that happened to do to Starling Marte. I believe he deserves probably about a 97, 98 card. Nothing crazy. Maybe they give him a 99 as he was good this year, but I could just see him being a good all-around card. I don't really see him being better than a lot of other cards, but I believe that the Marlins deserve that. For the Mets, I have really a no-brainer, and this is going to be Jacob deGrom. The only reason I could see them not giving Jacob deGrom a card would be maybe because they want to save him to see if he gets the Cy Young. But honestly, I think that won't really matter for this, and I think that Jacob deGrom is really the only good Met. They give it to Pete Alonso, but Pete Alonso's done terrible. Nobody on the Mets has really done good other than Jacob deGrom, so that's why I'm going to go Jacob deGrom. For our next guy, we actually have the Phillies, and the Phillies was kind of a hard one because I know they're not going to go Harper, but I decided to go Aaron Nola. I know they gave him an 88 overall, but Aaron Nola had a really good season this year, and I think that he deserves the finest card because he was the next best player other than Harper. I don't think they're going to give Harper another card because they gave him an MVP card. I just don't really see it happening. At the Nationals, I decided to pick someone who I just am almost completely certain is going to maybe win an MVP, maybe just something. He had an insane year, and that's going to be Juan Soto. Juan Soto is an absolute animal this year. You can't really deny that. He just hit the baseball like crazy, and Juan Soto had such a good swing, and he was so glitchy as an 89 that I could see his 99 card being very meta. Dude absolutely raked. For the White Sox, I actually decided to pick someone that not a lot of people decided, and it's actually Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu was an animal. He deserves this because he was just so good, and Abreu was honestly non-stop amazing, and that's why I picked that spot. For the Indians, I picked Shane Bieber because Shane Bieber, obviously Cy Young contender, definitely going to win the Cy Young, almost completely certain. Dude absolutely shoved this year in the 60-game season, and he was an absolute animal. For the Detroit Tigers, that was actually a toss-up, but I went Victor Reyes. Victor Reyes was kind of and I just feel like, Tigers didn't really have anyone good. As a Tigers fan, they aren't good, so I guess Victor Reyes will get a little bit of a low card, but he was okay. For the Royals, I picked Whit Merrifield because Whit Merrifield deserves another card. He was good this year, not amazing. He could have done better, but he did do pretty solid. Definitely the best player on the Royals, in my opinion, and he's really good. I don't think they're going to give Singer or anybody like that a card, and so that's why I went this. The Twins was a little bit of a toss-up. A lot of people wanted me to pick Maeda or Byron Buxton, but who I actually picked was Nelson Cruz. Now, Nelson Cruz just absolutely raked this year. He led the league in homers for a little bit. I believe he had 16. He might have ended with 16. He might have gotten more, but he was at 16 for a while. I know that. And Nelson Cruz just hit the crap out of the baseball. I think he deserves a card, and so that's why I'm doing that. For the Cubs, I actually went Yu Darvish. Other than Yu Darvish, the team kind of sucked this year. I'm not even going to lie. I just really liked Yu Darvish. He absolutely shoved. Came out of nowhere, honestly, because he usually gets absolutely shelled. But this year he didn't. He shoved in the Cy Young contention. Great card. I think he's going to be nuts. The only thing that I don't really like about Darvish is I don't know if he's going to have a really good pitch mix, as I know he probably won't have a sinker or a cutter. And so basically that's what I'm going with that. Now, the Reds, I had to go with my boy Trevor Bauer. I've been wanting this card literally since launch. Give me Trevor Bauer. I will pitch with him just for the memes because he's such a cool player. I love Trevor Bauer. I think that he deserves a card. In the Cy Young race, I hope he wins the Cy Young. I think he deserves it, but he's an absolute animal. The Brewers, an absolute no-doubter. I chose Hader. Hader's going to be a guy that's going to be in a lot of guys' bullpen. Fastball slider guy, kind of nuts. If they give him a changeup, he's going to be literally Billy Wagner. Pirates was kind of weird. The Pirates don't really have anyone good, so I went Jacob Stallions, the catcher. I didn't really think that he was good. Nobody on the Pirates, in my opinion, was good, so this card will probably suck. With the Cardinals, I picked Goldschmidt because Goldie had a pretty good year. I felt like he didn't do too bad. Goldie kind of hit the crap out of the baseball at times, and I felt like he kind of deserved it. Could have given it to someone like Colton Wong, but I just felt like he didn't have the offensive performance they needed. For the Angels, I'm going to go with Rendon. Anthony Rendon was kind of really good this year. Obviously, they're not going to give Trout another card because he's the collection reward. And the thing about that is I just don't really see Trout getting another card. Rendon had a good season, not an amazing season. I could see someone like Dylan Bundy, but he kind of fell off towards the last 2 starts of the season, which kind of made me sad. So I'm going to go with Rendon, as he hasn't really gotten a big card other than his player program card. I know he got that, but I could see him getting another one. With the A's, was an easy pick, Liam Hendricks all the way. Liam Hendricks absolutely shoved this year. He definitely deserves another card because he's just been lights out nuts for him, and I really like him. For the Mariners, I actually went with Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis was a really good hitter, and I really like him this year. One of my favorite players in the league. I can see him being really good in a couple of years. He's kind of just figuring some things out as his early years progress in the league. I can only see this guy getting better, so that's why I went with Kyle Lewis. For the Rangers, I had to go with Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn shoved it this season. I know that he's getting talked and he'll probably get a couple Cy Young votes, but I don't think he'll win the Cy Young. He did really good this season, though, and he definitely had a breakout season. Not a guy who had terrible stats throughout his career, but he did really good this year, and so that's why I think he'd make it. The Rangers didn't really have anybody other than him, with Gallo having a rough year. For the Astros, I actually have Bregman getting it. I know he got it last year, but I could really see Bregman because he was really solid this year. You know, he really just met his expectations. Wasn't amazing, wasn't bad. Pretty average year for him, but it was still a very good season. I think that he did better than someone like Springer Altuve. Altuve absolutely sucked this year. Correa was very average for a very long time. He's raking now, but I got to go with my guy Bregman there. For the D-backs, I have Cole Calhoun. Now, Cole Calhoun's a sleeper. Don't sleep on Cole Calhoun. He kind of rakes a little bit. I could see him being a bench bat for a lot of guys because he has huge pop against the right side. Terrible against lefties, but I could see them giving him like 125 pop righties, which would be kind of a cool card. With the Rockies, I actually picked Trevor Story. Trevor Story, I felt like, had the most consistent season. Of course, Blackman absolutely ripped baseballs at the first half, almost breaking records and stuff, but he really just fell off after that. But I really liked Trevor Story and how well he did the season, and I think that he's going to do it. The Dodgers, I had to go with Mookie Betts. I know that he probably is going to win the MVP, but I just felt like I needed to go there. I don't really think anybody else deserves this card more than Mookie. If they don't give him an MVP card with the Red Sox or something like that, I could definitely see them giving a finest Mookie. This guy will probably make everybody's team, as he's probably going to be really, really good. I can see them absolutely loading up a Mookie card, and I honestly would really love it. The Padres, I picked Manny Machado. Manny Machado was insane this year. MVP contender. Dude has absolutely raked and came into it. Obviously, I don't think they're going to give Tatis because they gave Tatis the Giant Player of the Month program. I think it's going to be Machado, and honestly, I think Machado's had a better season than Tatis. Although Tatis has done really good, Machado has just been so solid. His highlights this year, too, have been nuts. Absolutely nuts, and so that's why I think he did so good. And with our last guy, with the San Francisco Giants, our last prediction, I have Mike Yastrzemski. Mike Yastrzemski hit absolute bombs against righties this year, terrible against lefties. Giants don't really have anyone, and that's why I think this. Alright, boys, I just kind of crammed that whole thing out. It was kind of a quickie, not going to lie. But it was a blast, and I hope that you guys thought. If you guys think that I missed any, or if you see any of these being different, let me know in the comment section below. I love talking about these type of things. If you want to talk about stats on certain players that I researched or that are in this video, and you want to just talk about that, leave that in the comment section below. I'll be streaming tomorrow, so you can catch me there from 7 to 9 Central Standard Time. I'll see you guys in the next one, and thank you guys so much for watching.